Okay, last year I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books. My goal at the beginning of the year was to read 12 books, and then I passed that, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll read 26. Then I passed that, and I'm like, I'll read 52. And then I passed, okay, I only read 56 books, but that's a lot for me, seeing as my goal was 12, and most of those were in a very hazy, I would call it a hyperfixation, where I would read like 2 books in a day and then like 10 books in a week. So I don't remember a lot of them. I did leave reviews for everyone, so today we are going to be going through my reviews, trying to remember the books, seeing which ones are worth the read, which ones sucked. Most of them sucked. I'm a very hard reviewer. Here's the video. Enjoy. Okay, I'm gonna try and power through this. I tried this already, but I took too long, and also my reviews weren't on, so I'm doing this yet again. Pet Sematary. I don't know why I gave it 3 stars. I don't remember liking it that much. I mean, I couldn't put it down. I would like read it for hours at a time. It was very long, but it wasn't that scary, and it was long. History of Love. I wanted to read that for a very long time. It was good actually. You know what? I think 3 stars was a little harsh. I thought it was good, but also maybe it was too sad. Maybe I didn't like it because it was sad. I don't remember. Monster Calls. I did cry. That is true. Its target audience is like 12-year-olds, so I think I would have loved it if I was 12. I read it because 2 of my friends who don't like barely even know each other both said it was like their favorite book in the entire world and the best book they ever read. And then my one friend lent it to me, and I had it for like 2 years before I'm like, oh frick, I should read this and give it back to her. So then I read it in like 2 days, and it was good. It was good. Love Does. Okay, The Raven Cycle. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like the series. I didn't like a lot about it. It's a YA series, and I do not like YA, so that was probably it. Can I tell you a single thing that happened in that book? No, I cannot. Sanctuary Line, I read this because I really like Jane Urquhart. She is Canadian, which is cool, but what a weird book. Nothing happened until the end, and then something happened, and then the book just finished. I'm like, what? But vibes, very good. I probably stole some good quotes from it too. I think it was well written. It was just weird. War Foxes. Oh, Richard Sykin, you betrayed me. Richard Sykin wrote my favorite book, Crush. It is a poetry book. And then he wrote War Foxes. He only has 2 books, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it's Richard Sykin. He can't be bad, but it was just like, this isn't Crush 2. The Graveyard Book. I gave it 4 stars. I don't want to like retroactively change my stars because I'm like, when I thought it was outstanding. In my memory, it is not outstanding. It was good. But apparently I really liked it when I read it. Okay, then. Magician's Elephant, another kid's book. It felt like a kid's book. I think I would have really, really liked it as a kid. So I think if I knew a child, I would buy them this book. But for me... Anyway, moving on. Oh my gosh, Kelly Link, Get in Trouble. So good. I only give it 4 stars. Probably because she never explained anything, and that bothered me. But so good. It's a short story anthology. Instant Karma. This is by Marissa Meyer. She wrote like the Lunar Chronicles. I tried to read another book of hers, and I thought it was terrible and could not finish it. But Instant Karma was cute. But like I tried to say, like I said here, the entire time they're just trying to teach me things. Like, it's trying to like tell me about ecosystems and whatever. I'm like, this isn't school. I'm reading this book for fun. You're not nonfiction. Anyway, Trouble with Hating You, terrible book. 2 stars, 1 star. I don't know why I'm so kind to it. Probably because when I really hate a book, I want to give it 1 star and have it mean something. The main character was just so annoying. She was just like, I'm a feminist. Women matter. And I'm like, I know, I agree with you. Why are you ranting about obvious stuff for so long? Or she wasn't even making new points. She was just mad that people didn't think women could do stuff. And I'm like, you're annoying. Hey, you give, this one was good. This is true because at one point they're like, not all cops are bad. And I'm like, no, all cops are bad. So I think that's why I took a star off. Speaking of taking a star off for my own personal opinions, 3 stars but loses 1 because all the characters are French. Hated this book. Or I guess I didn't. I guess I thought it was 3 stars. But I disliked it. All the characters were French. They made a world that was completely fictional. It was like kind of fantasy. And then they made everyone French in it. Like, they didn't speak French. They just all had French names. And, like, the French Roman Catholic Church was there for some reason. Like, what? Who? Why? You can make any world you want, and you decide to include France in it? Also, sexism? Don't understand. I didn't like it. To Have and to Hoax. This was an interesting one. I guess I do remember these books better than I thought I did. This was interesting because, it's a series? What? I'm not going to read more, but that's cool. Because it was a period drama in 19th century England, but it was so ridiculous. Like, they're just, like, trying to constantly one-up each other on their ridiculous plans and lies. That being said, I thought it could be done better, but whatever. This was, like, a 20-minute audiobook about how to interpret your dreams. Honestly, 5 stars. It was amazing. Beauty Queens, this was funny. I think I started its own shelf after I read this of just books that made me laugh out loud, which are a bunch of books, but this one just made me realize I should have a shelf for it. But it was very satirical. Oh my gosh, I hated this book. Oh, I forgot about this book. I hate this book. Bad book. Bad book. I don't even want to explain the plot, but the main character is a theater girl, which already, all my friends are theater people. I was a theater kid, which makes it just all the more ugh. And she's like, I was a big deal in high school, which at the end she makes fun of herself for saying that, but still, the entire time I'm like, shut up. Watching You, I think this is the first mystery book I read this year. It was good. No, it wasn't. Apparently I gave it 3 stars. Okay, I guess I liked it when I read it. I don't know why. Okay, whatever. It's like a murder mystery kind of vibe. It's told from a lot of people's points of view, though, and I really like those books. Okay, next we have what would have been my favorite book I read this year, except I read a really, really good book in December that topped it, but The Host by Stephenie Meyer. And I tell people this, and then I have to say, I know it's Stephenie Meyer, but it was such a good book. No one's allowed to hate on it. It was so good. And it says it's a series. It's not a series. That's a lie. Freaking slaps. Immediately followed it by a terrible book. The Upside Falling was a book about these 2 rich people, but their problems are stupid and unrelatable and privileged. I don't know if this is a plus or minus, but it's a fake dating trope, and they are fake dating by, like, the end of the 2nd page. Like, it opens up with, like, the girl's friend being like, do you even have a boyfriend? And then this guy comes along and he's like, hey, babe. And she's like, what? And he's like, just go with it. Something like that. That's the general gist. It was a really bad book. I did not like it. And then I read a bunch of plays. Tempest. It was good. Not my favorite Shakespeare. Like, a mid-tier Shakespeare. Medea. Oh, slaps. Go so hard. Oh, that one. That was great. That was a good one. The Imaginary Invalid. 4 stars. Oh, this one! Oh, this one was really funny. This made me laugh out loud a lot. Oh, it was a good one. The Enemy of the People, did not like, was not good. Bad. Camille, okay, so Alexander Dumas, he wrote the book, which is not called Camille, it's called The Lady of the Camellias, that I read why did I read that? Oh, I read it because, a lot of people have, sorry, it's a bit of a rant, a lot of people have, made adaptions of that book, like, if you know the opera Carmen, or if you know the movie Moulin Rouge, those are all adaptions of this book that Alexander Dumas, which is the son of Alexander Dumas, who wrote, you know, like The Man in the Iron Mask and The Three Musketeers, famous author. He had this stupid son who just got published because he was Alexander Dumas' son, obviously. He sucks at writing, terrible writer, really bad writer, but I think I say it here. He had a concept greater than his skill level and just went for it. I love the concept, which I think is why Carmen and Moulin Rouge go so hard, is because the concept behind it is good. This guy just sucks. Anyway, wrote this terrible book, got published, then he turned it into a play, which was just as bad. Technically worse, according to me. Alright, moving on. Uncle Vanya. Oh my gosh. Chekhov. The only thing I know about you is Chekhov's gun and this play was bad. So, screw you, I guess? Okay, moving on. Antigone, oh my gosh. Okay, amazing, fantastic, superb. Again, 5 stars. The best play I read this year by far. Yeah. If you go to my quotes bot, this is a bot that posts quotes I find that I then very much like, and I'd say a substantial chunk of them are just quotes from Antigone by Jean-Louis. Yeah, right here. Jean-Louis, because this play just goes so hard. Okay, Sunkissed, I read this because it was, it's a book about, like a campground, like these white people who go to this, like, family campground for the summer, and there's this guy who works there, and he and the main girl kind of have a thing going on, so basically Dirty Dancing, and I was going camping that week, so, not camping, I was going to a cottage with my family, so I'm like, perfect book, matches well, then I read it, and then I didn't read anything for like, oh, I think I was reading this. This was just a really long book that was bad. The only thing good about it, oh my gosh, it was so weird and bad and weird and bad and also weird. Don't recommend. A Room with a View. Speaking of weird and bad, not as weird, but just as bad books. Room with a View. Also, what happened in this book? I have no idea. What the heck happened in this? I remember the opening scene and that is about it. Then, because I read Antigone by Jean-Ennui, I want to read Antigone by Sophocles, and it was not as good. So Sophocles, step it up. Oh, no, this book was cute. Why did I only give it 2 stars? No, 3 stars, you were cute. It was a blatant ripoff of To All the Boys I Loved Before, and then, like, halfway through, they mentioned the book To All the Boys I Loved Before, and I thought that was a very bold move, as I mentioned, because who does that? Sundown Motel I really liked. Yeah, it's like true crime kind of vibe. Highly recommend, actually. 4 stars, I'll keep it at that, but good book. Hated this book. Oh, terrible book. Hated. Bad. Bad, terrible, hate book. It was gross and unnecessary and yucky, and it had so much promise. I hate this guy. Grady Hendrix, jail. Start to see, oh man, this book could have been really cool. The author, like, did some really creative stuff with how she wrote it. She also wrote The Night Circus, which I read in high school and did not like at all, so I don't know why I thought I'd like this one more. Maybe I did like it more, but it was just so long too. I'm like, please just end. And it didn't. It kept going. It's kept you there. Another true crime kind of vibe, but I did not like anyone. And then it wasn't one of, it's a series, and it's a series that's like, all the books are just cut up versions of one long story, you know, instead of being like their own self-contained sort of vibe. So I read it, and it just felt like I finished like a part 1 of a series, because that's kind of what it is, but I didn't care enough to keep reading, so bad. Where did my reviews go? I've already ranted about how much I hate this book, but I hate this book, because it could have been so cool, because the tone was very cool, but I hate it, and it is bad. We Were Liars, I read this all in one night, and then I cried because it was a sad ending. So I think that marred my judgment. I think 3 stars would have been more fair. But I will leave it at 4 stars because apparently that's what 2 a.m. me thought was a good rank. I'm just gonna cut right in here again. Recently, I filmed this actual video weeks ago and then edited it weeks ago, and I just didn't want to film an intro, so that's why it's taken so long to come out. But very recently, like 2 days ago, my lovely friend Lori also read this book, and she left a review that's like identical to my review. I'm like, you stole my review, and then realized that my review on Goodreads is different than my review in this video. So I guess she didn't steal it. I guess we just have like minds, but I thought that was fun, and I should mention that. But okay then. Oh, bad book. Bad book. I don't even remember like the ending of this book. I just remember that it was bad. That's a good review. That's funny. This, I should have told you which ones, like, the entire world has been hyping up, but, like, this book I've seen hyped up a lot, this book I've seen hyped up a lot, these 2 books I've seen hyped up so much, this book I've seen hyped up a lot. Like, a lot of books I read because they're hyped up, but this one was terrible. This one was good. This one had a very bad beginning that I was reading, like, the first, like, maybe 20% of it, being like, I can't believe so many people tell everyone to read this book. This sucks. This is really bad. And then it gets really good. And then I'm like, okay, this is a good book. Nonfiction, don't know what to tell you. I've learned a lot of cool facts. Do you know Rasputin's first name is Greg? Because that was pretty funny to me. Everything I Never Told You. Oh, this book was so good. This is probably in my top 5 of the year. I really liked it, and I told Jessie to read it, and she did, and she was like, that wasn't good. And I'm like, oh, frick. I really liked it. I'm sorry. This one was fine. Maybe it wasn't that good. Because now that I think about it, not a lot happened. It's just like this woman and her stepdaughter trying to figure out what happened to her husband / her stepdaughter's father, because he went missing and they're trying to figure out the mystery. And it was like fine. This was a bad short story anthology, which sucked because I really like Shirley Jackson. She wrote The Haunting of Hill House, which is like my favorite book ever. And I read this. I'm like, why is this so trash? Joyland is like a perfect 4 out of 8. Like, it's right in the middle. It's Stephen King. It wasn't very scary. It wasn't really a lot of things, but it also wasn't really bad. It was just, it walks perfectly down the middle line. Really bad, Sergeant's Land of Light. I found this on a list of books with the best writing ever that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love writing. Read it, hated it. It's like about ghosts, like not in a scary way, like in a, oh no, no one can see me, this is so sad. And then they're creepy. Which, like, the author doesn't realize that, like, the things that they are doing are not romantic, they are creepy. Like, she, like, is watching the guy change, and I'm like, what the actual heck? Bad book. We're in December now, so I remember all these. They both died at the end. Well, they did both die at the end. It was sad. I don't know. It got hyped up a lot, and I do not think it deserves that much hype. Like, it was fine. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, this was a very tame response. I didn't like it, but 4.46, like that's one of the highest ratings I've ever seen, right? Out of 5 stars, its average is 4.5, like that's crazy. That's because so many people give it a 5-star and so many people read it. It's been top of the charts for like well over a year, I think. I don't actually know when it came out. So I went into it with so much expectation and hope, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna start raving about it like everyone else does, and then I read it, and I'm like, this wasn't good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't that good. So I apologize to my friends who are in the list of people giving it 5 stars and raving about it. I don't know what you see in this book. Moving on. 3 stars, honestly closer to 2 stars. Relatable comment here is that I often say that, like, why do books try so hard to make all the characters likable and good? And it's because a lot of people really like characters and want characters that they can like and relate to and cheer for. I am not one of those people. I do not have to like characters to like a book. So I often just want characters who kind of suck, But then they sucked in this book, and I'm like, no, be nice. So I guess I'm kind of hypocritical, but it's like a murder mystery vibe again, and it was fine. And then I literally stopped reading books on Christmas Eve because I read this book, and I'm like, nothing can compare. Nothing I'm going to read is going to be better. So whatever I'm reading is going to be worse, and I'd rather end the year on a high note. Anxious People by Frederick Backman, definitely book of the year for me. 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars, who knows, This book is so good. I recommend it to everyone. I don't think you can hate Anxious People. I don't think that's possible. If you do, never mind. Moving on, anyway. Thanks for going to my list, and I have nothing. I'm going now. Bye. Okay, that is everything I have to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you saw a book or two that maybe you will want to read, or maybe there's a book that I hated that you can take off your to-read list. There's so many bad books in the world, but there are also good books. If you have any books that you think I should read, let me know. I probably won't, because I don't like people's book reviews, because most of them are like, you should read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I do, and I'm like, that was a waste of time. Anyway, but then Grace shows up, and she's like, read Anxious People, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, Grace can give me recommendations, no one else. I will catch you on the flip side, maybe. Bye.